Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is Towering TBR. So today is day 1 of the Magical Readathon. I will link G and all of her wonderful information about this readathon in the description below. But basically, this is a mini readathon that's going to last 10 days. We are visiting shops in our magical city, and each shop is represented by a genre. I'm going to attempt to do 3 in 10 days. The first is the bookstore, and for that, it's read a mystery or thriller, and I'm going to read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. In the contemporary shop, which I think is called Smith and Sons and Goods and Such, I don't know. That's a contemporary, and I'm going to be reading Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. And for the Occult Premonitions shop, the genre is sci-fi. So I'm going to be reading John Scalzi's The Android's Dream. So I think I'm going to start off with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I have a really good audiobook, so I'm going to get started with that. Grab a beverage and settle in, because this will probably be a fairly long vlog. All right. Hi, welcome to day 2. Yesterday I got 57 pages into The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. First, a lady dies, and then Roger Ackroyd dies. And we're getting the perspective from the doctor, and he's just kind of not sure if there were any sinister elements to the deaths, meaning were they murders and or guilt-ridden suicides. And yeah, so we're just kind of learning the cast of characters and kind of learning about what their motives might have been to harm someone. This is my first Agatha Christie that has Hercule Poirot. I don't know if I said that right, but he is immediately sexist. He was like, oh, this thing happened, had to have been a man. And somebody was like, yeah, of course it was a man. It's like, if the twist turns out to be that it was a lady, like, that's not a good twist. Just because, yeah. Anyway, it got my attention. They even have, like, maps and stuff to, like, show what the crime scene looked like when the body was discovered. And we've got, like, maps of the houses, so you can see, like, which rooms were near the other ones. And yeah, it's really setting up for, a big mystery, and it's got quite a good deal of intrigue, so I'm enjoying that. I also picked up my sci-fi read, The Android's Dream, and I wish I had been filming my reaction whilst reading this, because this first line was incredibly intriguing. Dirk Muller didn't know if he could fart his way into a major diplomatic incident, but he was ready to find out. Immediately, I had questions like, how does a fart cause a diplomatic incident, and why would he want to cause the diplomatic incident? And yeah, so this is a future sci-fi, and Earth now has aliens on it as well. They're called the Nidu, and they're like large lizard people. And the humans basically didn't really have a choice about becoming their allies, because they were so much stronger than the humans that they knew they could just be wiped out. And so peace is what they go for. And yeah, there's an anti-Nidu clan that's kind of trying to force the situation. And yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of world building, which I like. I will say the humor in this one compared to Red Shirts is much more crude and childish, like with the fart jokes. But I still think it's pretty funny, and I'm still intrigued to know what will happen. So this book is a reference to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which is a classic sci-fi. And so in this book, in order to smooth things over with the Nidu, they have to find a very specific type of sheep and to give to them for their sacrifice. And yeah, so I stopped at around page 50, but I think that's going to be the next step, is trying to find the sheep, and the anti-Nidu people maybe, trying to thwart them. So it's really good so far. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, I will update you when I have a bit more. All right. Thanks. All right. So I have read about 90 more pages of The Android's Dream, and I guessed where it was going a little bit. The two sides are now actively looking for this super rare sheep, and yeah, both sides that are making inquiries for the sheep are told that the sheep had died from a fast-moving virus, and it's unclear who might be killing these sheep. I mean, I think we're supposed to suspect the anti-Nidu faction, but we're not really sure. And yeah, so they think that they might have found something, but it doesn't turn out to be what they're expecting. I can't be more specific without giving spoilers. But we do learn about this religion/cult that sounds very much like it's based on Scientology. In fact, I wrote down, the church remains small by the fact that it takes a certain sort of person to want to join a church based on the desperate maneuvers of a second-rate science fiction writer. So it's very skewering of Scientology. We've also got the addition of an artificial intelligence now, and I thought learning about that was really interesting, and I have to keep that vague because, spoilers as well. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I think it's probably going to be a 3-star read. It's definitely not my favorite of John Scalzi's, but I'm really quite enjoying the ride. So a 3 stars, still very good. And then I have read a bit more of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. It's hard to tell where I am because there's 5 of the books in here, and this one's not the first, so I would have to do math to figure out how many more pages I've read. But yeah, we are getting to know the characters. Hercule Poirot has kind of accused everybody of hiding something. They're like, you're all hiding secrets, and so that kind of prompts some of the people to confess to some of the secrets, which may or may not have anything to do with the death. But now we are learning more motives of other people, finding out, who was having money troubles, because the guy that died had a sizable estate. So money can definitely be a motive. We're getting a lot of details, but nothing that is helping me really solve the mystery. It seems sort of like Poirot's character is sort of like Sherlock. He just noodles it about in his head and then figures it out, and we're not necessarily supposed to try and solve it too, because they just don't give you enough clues. That feels very much how it is. Like, I don't think I will be able to figure it out. But yeah, I am getting some suspicion. So I have now finished this book, and I realize I have inadvertently given away or guessed the ending. So cutting this out so that I don't spoil you for this book. All right, today is day 4. I am going to have to edit this vlog a little bit because I definitely went into spoiler territory with my last update on the murder of Roger Ackroyd. I have now finished this book, and if you're seeing this, don't worry, I've already edited it. You won't have any spoilers. But overall, I enjoyed it. It uses a trope that, because I knew about it, I knew to possibly be on the lookout for this type of trope, and thus, I guess, the ending. But it would have been a very satisfying ending, especially if you didn't see it coming. Like I said, Poirot kind of gathers up these clues, and he doesn't really share what's important. So it's kind of like, I don't think they anticipate you trying to guess along. But I gave it 3 stars. I think it's worth reading. But unfortunately, it didn't surprise me. I have not done any more of the android's dream, but I will get to some of that today. And I will also likely start on the 3rd book, Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies. I did want to say thank you, because last night I hit 100 subscribers. And I am just really excited. So thank you all who watch and subscribe and support this channel, because that is what it's all about, is making connections and talking about books. And I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, so this is a short clip, but I enjoyed it, and working on book number 2 now. Hey, and welcome to day 6. I was not able to film yesterday because it was a very bad day. It seemed like all of my illnesses flared up at once. So I was able to get some reading done, though. I am on page 220 of the Android's Dream, and we're getting a little bit more perspective from the anti-Nidu group. They explain that basically the Nidu as a sentient species is ranked very lowly among the galactic commons, and it's like you don't really want them as your ally, but don't want them as your enemy either. And so they were kind of trying to work that balance, which I thought was, I don't know, it felt like high school lunch table politics or something. You don't want to sit with that group or that kid, or, you know. And yeah, we've had a very exciting chase scene, which I thought was really humorous. It's a lot of action-packed stuff. And there was one line that made me cackle with laughter. But unfortunately, if I were to say it, I would have to then give context, which would be spoilers. So I'm not going to do that, but I am still enjoying this and will continue to read this some more. I also started Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. I'm about 62 pages in, and I'm feeling very torn. This is an incredibly experimental novel, which I don't typically like. It's often poetic, which means that some of the lines were just amazing. For example, this is from the perspective of the cancer as the woman who has cancer starts treatment. Think of all the friction clatter of sticks rubbing into early fire, and then imagine you are petrol. And I just thought that that was really pretty, and I really like the unusual style. But then there's also points where they just start listing a bunch of things, and for me, that feels really unnecessary. The perspective of cancer I don't really like that either. It is helping, like, create a sense of foreboding, like, you don't think this is gonna turn out well, and, but yeah, I don't know if I like having a point of view from the cancer. But this woman, she's had cancer before, and she is fighting it still, now that she's no longer in remission. And it's kind of going into her backstory of who she is as a person and her family and what she imagines life will be like when she's gone. And I find all of that quite fascinating. So I'm torn because some of the stylistic choices are just unnecessary in my opinion. But the writing is really gorgeous, and I am invested in this character. And there's already some intrigue because she talks about someone she loved when she was younger, and we don't know what happened to him. And I think that there might be a secret or mystery revolving that. So I'm going to keep reading it, but I will learn my lesson from last time that just to DNF it if it's not for me. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing, is reading some more. I have my Home Alone Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal sweatshirt because I think we're going to make Chex Mix and watch Home Alone tonight. So I think that'll be fun, and I'll get in some more reading. What are you reading now? This readathon is going by super quickly. I have now finished The Android Sheep by John Scalzi. This got really political in the end. There was a lot of caste systems that were trying to be bucked, and lots of people were vying for control. And I did not see the end coming, but I thought it was a very satisfactory ending. However, some of this was a drudge. Like, a lot of the humor is in the beginning, and so, yeah, it just became more serious towards the end and with really large stakes, and was less the humorous adventure story that I was hoping for. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. Pretty much only kept going because the narration by Will Wheaton is really good. And I was like, well, you're almost done, you might as well. So yeah, this was not as much of a hit as I was hoping it would be, especially since I gave his book Red Shirts a 5-star. However, this was written much earlier than Red Shirts, and so maybe he's just become a more talented author over time, and maybe I should pick up his more recent stuff. And then I have read some more of Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies. Yeah, this is really not grabbing me at all. Sometimes I like the poetry, but sometimes it just feels like there's just lists of things. See right here? And I feel like maybe it's too experimental for me. Like, if she had made this a traditional novel where, like, we just learn about this woman and whatever secrets she's keeping, like, I think it would be better. But I don't know, because I'm only, let's see, 86 pages in. But this is likely a DNF. Yeah, and because I knew this, I then picked up this contemporary graphic novel called Men I Trust by Tommi Parrish, and this won the LGBTA+ awards for comic or graphic novel. But for me, I, one, don't like the artwork. It's not super realistic or anything, and like the heads are so much smaller than all the other bodies, which I found distracting. But basically it's about these 2 women. One of them is a single mother who is also a beat poet, and she meets one of her fans one night, and this fan is like really into her and is like inviting themselves to her house and helping her carry her child to bed. And like when I'm gonna just call her like the fangirl, when she tries to kiss the poet, she's like, oh no, there's too big of an age difference. And it turns out they're only a couple years different, but I can see why she would say that, because this girl is acting like a love-struck teenager when she's actually a 29-year-old woman. And yeah, I was trying to get something to check off my contemporary one, but this is also going to be a DNF. I immediately disliked the fangirl. She felt desperate and clingy and really unaware of social cues, and yeah, she was, I don't know. I didn't care for it. So I DNF'd that. I'm almost certain I'm going to stop reading Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies. I just don't think this is the book for me. So I'm glad I tried it, but this will probably be my last clip. And I hope whatever you've been reading for the Magical Readathon has been great. Let me know if you participated and what you read. All right. Thanks. Bye.